What's up everyone, my name is Mr. H and today I'm going to show you how to mix virtual ensemble audio using Bandlab on the iPad. So I have my iPad open here, I have Bandlab open, and I'm going to start by creating a new project. And then I'm going to click on Import Track. So I recorded a song with 4 tracks. Go to Photo Library. So there are 4 videos. I have drums. I want to get my drums in there, so I'm going to click on my drum part. I'm going to click Use, and what it's doing is it's going to take the video out. It's just going to import the audio. Now, here's kind of a weird thing that you have to do. You have to know the tempo that you recorded this at. So I recorded this at 79 beats per minute. It's an important thing. You also have to know how many measures there was in between the marker and when you started recording. So for me, there was 2 measures. So you have to go in and change the tempo. To change the tempo, click on the cog and then change the tempo. Let's see if I can click in 79. That's close. All right. Now, when you change the tempo, it actually adjusts the audio. It does that automatically. So you have to add in that first one again. I'm going to add that in, go to Import Track from Photo Library. I'm going to add in that drum track again. We have to get rid of the old one. This is just a weird thing that you have to do. All right. So it's doing its thing. All right. So I'm just going to get rid of this old one, just because. And I can actually get rid of this track too, that first track. Just click on the 3 dots there, remove. Now it's gone. Oops, not rename, remove. All right, so now it's gone. That track's there. Need to add in the rest. So I have a bass part. There's my bass part. My bass part will be track 2 if you want. You can name these in Bandlab. I'm not going to name them. I'm just going to remember. So I have drums, bass. Let's do another one. Let's do the electric guitar part. Press Use here. It's going to import that in. Depending on how many tracks you have, this might take more time. The setup of all this takes a little more time than some things. It's actually what takes the most time, is just making sure it's all set up, making sure it's all lined up. And then the last track is acoustic guitar and voice at the same time. Okay, so it's importing these things, and now we have to line up our marker. You can see the marker. It's there. If you click in the workflow area, you can move this around. You can also have things snap. Like anytime you click on a region here, you can move it, and it's moving with the metronome right now. And you could turn it off, and then it kind of moves freely. So what we're going to do is we're looking at measure 3. We're going to move the playhead to the beginning of measure 3. And by eye, we're just going to try to move, we got low battery. We're just going to try to move the clap to as close to the playhead as possible. And then we're going to check it. We're going to check it by turning the metronome on. Turn the metronome on by clicking on that there. We're going to solo each track. So if you don't have that open, if you only see this, you won't see how to solo. But you can click on these lines and the little circles there. To solo a track, you press S for solo. Now only this track, only track 1 is being played. I'm going to move the playhead back a little bit, and I'm going to listen. That was actually pretty good. I heard beat 1 and I heard that clap. Great. Let's solo the next one. Hopefully I get one that isn't 100% perfect, so I can show you how to make it perfect. That one was a little early. So to fix it, click on the region, click on the 3 dots, go to Shift, and you could shift it ever so slightly with this slider. You see it move? So move it a little bit back. Now it's a little early. That's good. Okay, let's solo the next one. This one looks like it's going to be late. Yeah, it was a little late. 3 dots, Shift, move it back a little bit. Now it's early. That's pretty good. The more time you take doing this, the better the recording is going to end up sounding. What was that, early or late? That was little itty bitty a bit early. You might think, oh, it's not that bad. But anything that's off time-wise is going to result in what sounds like a performance that's off. And we don't want that. We don't want the performance to sound like it was off with time. All right, so now I have all of those done. Now it's time to, let's get rid of that solo. Let's hear that one big clap together. Sounded pretty solid. So if you click on a region, you can move, and I'm going to turn snap on, since hopefully, theoretically, all of these are moved to the correct spots. Now I can trim. If you trim, highlight a region, click on that little circle, and trim it to the beginning of that measure. See, I'm just trimming, trimming, trimming. And now I'm going to move everything to the beginning of the song. So I'm just going to click the region and just move it. All right, so now everything should be with the metronome. Let's give it a listen without the metronome.
Oh, mix it up.
Okay, once that's done, it's time to mix it. So we have a few options here. We can mix the volumes with these sliders. Like right at the rip, I hear those drums are super loud. I'm going to turn them down. Okay. So you can mix the volumes here. Like the bass, I think, need to come up a little bit. Maybe the guitar, the electric guitar was too loud. Maybe I need to bring up my vocals a little bit. Let's listen to it now.
Oh, mix it up.
Okay, so there are other things we can do. If you look at that little L and R, that's the panning dial. So we can move things to the right or to the left. Right now, everything is smack dab in the middle. And we haven't EQ'd anything, so there's like a lot of information going on in the middle. And we want to kind of move things a little bit so that it's not all dialed down the center. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my electric guitar part, I'm going to move it over to the left a bit. I'm actually going to take my bass and move it to the right a little bit. Nothing crazy. So it's a little off from the center. And let's give it a listen now, see how it changed.
Mix it up.
Maybe I can move my...
Oh, mix it up.
All right, so that sounds pretty good. Now I'm going to show you really quickly. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can add reverb. You can do some EQ. There's a lot of effects in here. You saw there was denoise too. Like if it's a really noisy thing, if you click on the region, you can go to the three dots and then denoise. I think it makes things sound like they're underwater, so I'm not going to denoise things. But let's add a little bit of reverb to my vocal part. So to do that, you're going to double click on here. Brings up this. Go to effects. And then these are all presets. I like to just start from, the presets have so many things. I like to start from nothing. And then click on plus. And now I'm going to just click on reverb, studio reverb. I know that they go crazy with the reverb here. So I'm going to just bring it down a little bit. And let's listen to it. Oof, that's a lot of reverb. Bring down the mix.
Oh, mix it up.
Too much.
Mix it up.
Maybe the room's too big too.
Mix it up.
That's better. Maybe the size is too big. That's like how long the reverb lasts. And maybe it's a little bright. So I did that. You could also solo the track while you're EQing or doing reverb. Let's EQ that bass. Let's add a little more bass to the bass. But to do that, I'll solo it so we're only hearing the bass. And I'm going to turn on looping. So if you click on the top here, on the top, you see that? And I can move it. Now it's just going to loop that one area. And that's going to allow me to hear this one thing as a sample. Double click this, go to effects. Now I hear that. And I can go to, I'm going to go to graphic EQ. And I'm going to start changing things a little bit at a time. Turn down my level of scotch. Maybe I'll turn down the high frequencies because that's where all those like hisses are at. And we don't necessarily need that for the bass. Now I was playing it with a guitar amp, so the guitar amp had a lot of mids. I think that sounds pretty decent. And again, your first mix isn't going to be perfect. Don't put reverb on bass. Don't do it. So now let's go to listen to the whole thing. Got to make sure I unmute and unloop that one section. Let's hear what we got.
Oh, mix it up. Oh, mix it up.
not bad. I think that's a pretty solid sound. Once you get to a point where you think it sounds pretty good, then it's time to export it. To export it, you're going to hit on the little cloud button and go to save. You have to save it as something. I'm going to save it as Mix It Up in Bandlab. All right. Oh, it knows that is Bandlab. Going to check that there. Now it's saved. I'm going to click on View. Maybe. I guess I'm going to have to go over here. Mix It Up in Bandlab. Clicked on it. And there it is. I'm going to, why do I do that here? View Details. That's where you want to go. Go to the three dots. Click Download. And now it's going to allow you to download the audio file and save it to files. I'm going to just save it here. Know where you save it, because if you save the video file and then you have the audio file, then you can put them together in iMovie on the iPad and line it up so it looks like the video file matches the audio file. So hopefully this helps. Doing it a few times, you're going to get good at those sliders, and you're going to get good at finding where those claps are. And then just be patient. You know, mixing and editing is a very tedious process. The more time you take in it, the better it's going to sound. But don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get stuck in the rabbit hole of making sure it sounds 100% perfect. Because remember, a lot of this was recorded using just a little microphone. So good luck, and we'll see you in the shed.